Hello, hello. Welcome back to another Cash Practice Training Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you're going to be here live or watching the replay. Always appreciate it. Today, in my mastermind group, we just finished a mammoth 2-hour coaching call. It was awesome. And a lot of the call today focused on video marketing, different forms of video marketing, pre-recorded, Facebook Live videos, all kinds of video marketing tactics. And one of our members in particular has been getting into video and doing great things. Developed, just as a stat, I think he said he's gotten 5 new patients from 2 recent Instagram videos. Literally 5 patients from 2 Instagram videos. And he doesn't have that big of a following on Instagram. So I'll get to that later as far as how we can market the videos that we create and how we can accelerate our success in the generation of patients that they actually create. But as you see in the title of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about a particular type of video that for my practice, this one video literally has generated tens of thousands of dollars in revenue for my practice and has compelled, I think we've had, aside from those who have come to see us in Austin because of it, 3 different additional patients that drove from out of the city, 2 of them from Dallas. It was like over 4 hours drive away to come down for treatment. And one that actually flew in from out of state, Illinois or Indiana, I can't remember. But I mean, this is powerful stuff. This is because of a single YouTube video. This particular video right now at the time of this recording that I'm talking about, I think it has about 160,000 views. It's a lot of views, but I mean, a video can have a ton of views. If it doesn't actually produce business for you, then as a business owner, you're putting the time into doing it. It doesn't really matter. So my point today is to talk about the things that I believe and know will actually create results for your private practice. There's a lot of different types of video. I could speak on video marketing alone for hours and hours. So we're just going to focus in on this particular type of video that I just described that's been so productive for my business. I've actually had others that have produced more revenue long-term, but primarily because I released them and they've been working for my practice much, much longer, back in 2012, 2013. So this particular video is on AC joint injury, and essentially is the type of video where you are with a patient and you are walking the viewer through before, during, and after treatment. It's been super powerful. I'd say that type of video is by far the most productive video of all the different types. We have a lot of talking head videos, Q&A videos, talking about really highly important things that our patients do want to know about. But there's something about a viewer seeing you treat a patient that is super, super powerful. And so there are certain ways to go about it to make it as powerful as possible. So a few things to consider. And I'm just kind of spitballing here. And of course, we just came off of a 2-hour coaching call, so I'm a little brain fuzzy. But first and foremost, taking them through and showing the assessment, showing at least a few painful, limited movements, and doing it in a way where the viewer can see the patient's face. And I mention this because the video that we analyzed in the coaching call today in my mastermind group, the initial assessment, the patient was facing away, and the therapist was actually like kind of talking to the camera in that way, but the patient was facing away. So you couldn't really get a sense of what limitations they had. You couldn't see the pain on their face, and the audio wasn't perfect, so you couldn't hear really well what they were saying. So making sure that your lighting and audio, just as an aside, lighting and audio count. You do not want a top lit, shadowy look. If it's super echoey or issues with audio, that people will click away. So making sure that you're dealing with, you've got set up for good lighting and good audio, even if that means having like a wireless lapel mic. You can have a wired mic, but if you're doing this kind of video we're talking about today and you're bouncing around and treating them, then that wire, can get in the way. So having, investing 150, 200 bucks into a really solid wireless lapel mic, clips in on your lapel, circles, goes down under your shirt to the back of your belt, and then clips in on a box. And then that that kind of talks to, the camera audio, that can make a huge difference here. So mind your lighting, mind your audio. Make sure that they can see the patient's face as you're going through the assessment. They can see the limitation in that, in the any pain in their face. Have them verbalize what's going on, what they're feeling, and where. Then you're going to get into, and that's important because you're going to come back and have them do all that again at the end. Obviously, you don't have to. I wouldn't do this live in case you don't have amazing results. But for those that do have that amazing breakthrough of range of motion, overhead reach, and they're like, wow, and you can see it on their face, or they're looking over their shoulder and they were really stuck before, like that makes people act. It makes the viewer say, wow, that's exactly like the crick I have in my neck. And now that person can see over their shoulder and back out of their driveway without being worried they're going to hit somebody. Like, I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling, right? So it's important that you kind of pre-plan those things and maybe test those motions ahead of time to say, what are the motions that I do want to capture on this video and have this person do? And what do I want to, you're in your mind, you're thinking, what do I want to have them verbalize? What questions am I going to ask? A little prep work goes a long way. You don't have to plan it out like crazy, but a little prep work goes a long way. So if you then go through the assessment, and again, coming back later on, you can always edit out and not make it super long. It might be 20, 30 minutes of filming, but you can condense that down into 5 minutes or less. And on that note, as far as timing goes, just know that the stats show within about 5 minutes, or at about that 5-minute mark, you're down to about 10% of your original viewers. They start to drop off immediately unless you're really good at capturing their attention and keeping them engaged. If you're falling in the average is that at 5 minutes on YouTube, you're at 10% of your viewers. Now, that's not to say that that's a terrible thing or that you can't go beyond 5 minutes, because that 10% left, and let's say you have a 20-minute video, the few that are staying for a whole 20 minutes, they are much more engaged and likely to act than the people that are dropping off in the beginning. So I'm not saying never do videos beyond 5 minutes. I would just say whenever possible, keeping them to less than 5 minutes, keeping them short, engaging, and entertaining, captivating, super important if you want to build an audience that actually acts on the videos, right? So after you have done the assessment, you're taking them through, you're getting some good shots of the type of treatment that you're providing, whether that's hands-on, mobility-based, whatever it is, but you're talking them through it, you're talking the viewer through it. You're not just having the viewer watch them, watch your hands work. You're saying, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm feeling for, this is why I'm doing this. And here's the logic behind the reason we treat people with this issue the way we do. And then making sure that you associate what you're doing with other related issues. So for instance, I've had patients in the past that have come in for like a knee issue, and they thought I was like a knee specialist because I did good work on the knee. And they didn't think that maybe I treated the neck or other parts of the body as well. So they went somewhere else for that next issue when they had a crick in their neck. They come back for the knee a few years later, something happened. I'm like, wait, you had a crick in your, they talk about some other treatment plan of care or something somewhere else. I'm like, why didn't you come in for your neck? And they're like, well, I thought you just worked on knees. So make sure that you let people know in your videos, look, we're treating the shoulder right now, but just so you know, at Carter Physiotherapy, we treat things from head to toe and get these kind of results. Just want to let you know. And if you're dealing with shoulder issues, please know that, it's not just the AC joint, that we treat. And you'll see this, I'll link to the AC joint video that I'm talking about. It's not just that we treat that, we treat all kinds of shoulder issues. And you can take the opportunity to talk through the rotator cuffs and the common things that people are going to be visiting that video for, that they're going to hear, oh, yeah, that's my thing. They treat me too. Okay, now I'm ready to call, because they weren't totally sure until you said it. So you gotta spell it out for people. So as you're taking them through the treatment, they're seeing your hands-on work, they're seeing your Therex, whatever the case may be. You're talking through the logic of what you're doing. It is showing that you are an expert. If you're kind of silent and just engaging with the patient during that, and you're not speaking to the viewer and explaining what's going on and what you're looking for and why you're doing what you're doing, you miss out on the opportunity to really establish yourself as an expert treating that thing that those viewers are dealing with. Because these days, people have an issue. They go to Dr. Google, which owns YouTube, right? And a lot of times those YouTube videos come up, but YouTube is the second highest used search engine behind Google. More than Yahoo, Bing, people get on YouTube and they search for things. It has the second most use as a search engine, right? So you got to understand that people are searching for answers to their issues that you help with on YouTube. And it's an amazing tool. It has produced literally 6 figures of revenue easily for my business over the last 10 years, easily. So please, consider this. If you haven't gotten into video and you feel like you could get comfortable on it, this is an easy way, this type of video of assessment, treatment, post-treatment, retest of movement, get a great result, put it on YouTube, it will produce, right? So now we take them to the, to retest those movements. If it's a great improvement, right? And I would say even retesting a few times and then continuing to treat and saying, okay, now we're going to work on this. Now we're going to work on that because of what I just saw, but really walking them through the whole thing. And then afterwards, you can condense it down. And like I told my mastermind student today, it's like for this 10-minute video that you put together, you can get easily 3 or 5 nice social media segments, little 10-second clip, 30-second clip, whether it's a timeline post or just a few posts for stories. Like any 5-10 minute video is going to give you the content for a lot of social posts, right? Then you're going to, after you put it on YouTube, you're going to have it transcribed. That transcription is going to be a part of the text you use in the description of YouTube, as well as it's going to become a blog post. You put it on your website, you embed the video, you've got the text with, targeting, you obviously rework it a bit, make sure that you're targeting the right keywords for that issue and using the geography of where you're at, the type, manual therapy in Austin for AC joint sprain. When you go to the blog post that I embedded my AC joint video in, you'll notice if you look at the title, look at the subtitles, the subheadings, look at the text. It's all SEO optimized so that people in Austin looking for treatment of AC joint sprains, they're either going to find my video on it on Google because it's so popular, or they're going to find my blog post. I'm going to be first page on that. And I'm competing against really big orthopedic groups and really big PT groups. So all the take home point of what I'm making right now is that every video effort, you can utilize low-cost staff, virtual assistants to really get a ton of mileage out of it. And it continues to work for you on those platforms for year after year after year. When you got it on YouTube, you got it on Facebook, you got it on Instagram. The Facebook, Instagram, those are more time sensitive. It's just going to have that pop in the beginning. But YouTube will continue to produce for years in a big way if you use it right, and you can embed it and get that content on your website and get traffic to your website in that way as well. So those were kind of the high level things, the boxes that you need to check on this type of video in order to really, really have a business producer for your practice. If you have appreciated this, please give me a thumbs up here. Show me some love. Share this with somebody who wants to do video marketing, who already is. There's always going to be that little golden nugget, that little thing that they weren't doing before that can totally change things. So tag a friend or share this with any practice owners or business owners that you think would benefit from it. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. We do this every Tuesday here live, and then, of course, fan it out on all our platforms with my staff. We get a ton of mileage out of every one of these, and you can do the same for your practice and for your business. So thank you again, and we will see you next Tuesday.